Hello Year 6 students. In today's video, I am going to summarize our lesson for week 4. So we've started the week doing the activity on page 9 learner's book, Think Like a Scientist, where we develop our fair testing skills. So once again, I explained to you that when you are doing a fair test investigation, it is very important that you analyze the scientific question. In this activity, the scientific question is, how does exercise affect pulse rate? So as I explained, when you analyze the question, you need to identify the two main concepts or variables. Okay, so in this question, we have two variables that we are trying to test: the exercise and also the pulse rate. The connection is the impact of exercise to our pulse rate. Okay, so the scientific processes involve different steps. So we start by asking the scientific question, and after asking the scientific question, we have to make a prediction. So here, when we had our discussions, we predicted that when you are doing some exercises, the exercises actually increase your heartbeat. And so therefore, the exercises can also increase the pulse rate. So how will you test your prediction? We can test the prediction by doing exercises and by measuring our pulse rate after doing each exercise. So once again, just to remind you, pulse rate is the measure of your heartbeat per minute. So when you count your heartbeat per minute and also your pulse, that is the pulse rate through your pulse. Okay, I mean. So again, in making a fair test, scientific investigation involves understanding the variables. So in this activity, we identify the three variables. What are these variables? The variables that we can measure, the variables that we change, the variables that we keep the same. So what is the variable that we measure? The variable that we measure is the pulse rate. We take the pulse rate in heartbeat per minute, meaning to say every exercise we measure our pulse in our wrist to find out the number of heartbeat per minute. Okay. What did we change? We changed the exercises from a simple to difficult exercise. What do we keep the same? We keep the duration the same, meaning in every exercise, we measure the pulse rate at 1 minute. And at the same time, we need to also keep the same the person who is going to do the exercise. So what are the equipment that we need? Basically, there is just one equipment that we need when we do our pulse rate measurement. We need a timer or a stopwatch. Some of you have said that we also need some exercise mat and also we need to wear our sports attire, which are also correct, but these are just optional. Okay. Decide how you will record and present your results. Here, in order to see the trend or the pattern of our pulse rate, whether the exercises affect our pulse rate or not, we need to tabulate our data in charts, which we've done in spreadsheet. Okay, so since this investigation has to be conducted by exercising, we did not go through our practical exercises, but rather just go through or went through with the questions to find out whether uh, we have the right prediction or not. Why? Because the activities in Thinking Like a Scientist 1, we had already done the measuring of pulse rate. So we've just reflected on your previous data to be used for this activity. Okay, so was your prediction correct? Uh, Yes, some of you said yes, our predictions were correct. Okay, describe any pattern you could see in that results. Remember that when I asked you to compare your friend's pulse rate, when we had our pair work, some of the results were ascending or increasing. Some of the pulse rates are decreasing, depending on the activities that your friends had done at home. Which two types of scientific inquiry did you use in the investigation? Here we actually investigated. Here we actually use our FAIR testing scale, that is one, and also observation skills when we take our pulse rate, and at the same time we observe the pattern seeking. Okay, so we observe the pattern in our results. Towards the mid of the week, since we were preparing for the topical test, I provided you with the overview of lesson 1.1, which is about circulatory system. Please remember that the circulatory system is a big concept, okay? And this big concept is narrowed down into three main parts. What are the three main parts of the circulatory system? The heart, the blood, and the blood vessels. Heart. We went further discussing about heart. I provided you with video to explain the blood circulation inside the heart. Basically, that's the function of the heart, to circulate blood, okay? To circulate blood and pump blood all over our body, okay? So, basically, heart has two parts, the right side and the left side. And as I said, these sides have division so that the blood inside do not mix with each other. So if you notice in this particular diagram, the right side holds the oxygen low blood, or the blood that contains waste products. And this blood is actually pumped to the lungs to collect oxygen. So once it leaves the lungs, the blood enters the left side, and the left side now has the oxygen-rich blood that contains food and food from food to be given to the body cells, and the left side pumps the oxygen-rich blood to the different parts of the body. Okay, so also we discuss about blood, the different blood components such as red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, plasma, and also the blood vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries. Okay, so the red blood cells contain the oxygen, and the white blood cells contain the substances that fight diseases or increase our immune system. Platelets are responsible for healing your cuts or wounds through blood clotting, and plasma is the liquid part of the blood. Remember, blood vessels, arteries are the blood vessels that transport blood away from the heart. Veins are the ones that carry waste product. Capillaries are where the exchange of materials take place in the different body cells. We also summarize the blood circulation in the heart once again for you to have a clear picture of it. Where when blood circulation takes place in the heart, it starts with the right side of the heart that carries oxygen, poor blood to the lungs. And as I said, it is collected by the left side of the heart, whereby the blood is already oxygen rich, and it is transported to the different parts of the bodies through the blood vessels, arteries. It is given to the cells as food, and whereby the body cells release waste products, carbon dioxide collected by the capillaries and the veins, and then go back to the heart for oxygenation. Towards the end of the week, we also started or introduced our lesson 1.2, the respiratory system, and we introduced some significant keywords that you need to remember when you are understanding the respiratory system. Those keywords are breathing, breathing rate, diaphragm, lungs, and windpipe. There was an activity where I requested you to draw a picture of the lungs in your writing notebook and you explained, okay, why you drew the lungs and what happened inside when you are breathing in and breathing out. Okay, we went further our discussions by uh, reading this book. As I said, when you read information and when you watch video, these are forms of research skills where you are collecting information. So in this particular page, we collected information about the parts of the respiratory system. So what are the parts of the respiratory system? Basically, we have the nose, lung, windpipe, and diaphragm. These are the basic parts. Okay, our lungs are responsible for breathing. Okay, when you breathe in, you collect oxygen, and when you breathe out, you release carbon dioxide from your body. Okay, and we also observe that when you inhale, your rib cage move upward, and when you exhale, your rib cage move downward. Okay, we also explained and discussed that the lungs are found in the chest, and these organs are protected by the bones called ribs. Okay? Uh, Moving forward, there was an activity that you need to outline the breathing mechanism, breathing in and breathing out in a flow chart. Okay, so this activity is to be continued next week, and hopefully you are able to make sense of what you learned on page 13 and 14. Remember, when you are reading information, you are researching. Okay, and how to process this information, you need to always understand keywords and make connection to the keywords in different ways. So for this activity, I provided you with a flow chart so that you will understand the movement of the air in and out of the body. We will continue the discussion next week, and hopefully you'll be able to understand the respiratory system well. Thank you so much and have a good day.